river conservation and rejuvenation. The government is working on mapping and converging the 5 P's: people, policy, plan, program, and project. It has been supplementing the efforts of the states or union territories by providing financial and technical assistance for the abatement of pollution in identified polluted stretches of rivers in the country through the central sector scheme of Namami Gange for River Ganga and its tributaries, and the centrally sponsored scheme of National River Conservation Plan NRCP for other rivers. In addition, the government has recently released detailed project reports DPR for the rejuvenation of 13 major rivers prepared by the Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education ICFRE. Dehradun, in consultation with the state forest departments and other line departments, works proposed under these DPRs include afforestation on river banks leading to increased green cover, measures to contain soil erosion, recharge the groundwater table, sequester carbon dioxide, catchment area treatment, ecological restoration, moisture conservation, livelihood improvement, and income generation, etc. Preservation of ecosystems, a critical adaptation action. Ecosystems play an important role in carbon storage, protect the coastal areas, and enhance water quality besides other services such as cultural, spiritual, and tourist attractions. Wetlands are natural buffers against floods, droughts, and tropical cyclones. Wetlands can act as sponges, storing peak rainfall and releasing water gradually during the lean season. The floods in Kashmir Valley in September 2014 and Chennai city in December 2015 are reminders of the ways wetland destruction can make lives vulnerable. The Ramsar Convention, signed on February 2nd, 1971, is one of the oldest intergovernmental accords signed by member countries to preserve the ecological character of their wetlands of international importance. Wetlands declared as Ramsar sites are protected. India has 75 Ramsar sites covering an area of 13.3 lakh hectares, and 49 of these have been added in the last 8 years. Mangroves and coastal wetlands form the first line of defense for coastal communities against increased storm surges, flooding, and hurricanes. As per a recent data, certain mangrove species in Chilika and Sundarbans along the east coast and Dwarka and Porbandar along the west coast of India are likely to reduce and shift landward by 2070 due to a decline in suitable habitats in response to precipitation and sea level changes. The government has taken both regulatory and promotional measures to protect and conserve mangroves. The National Coastal Mission Program on Conservation and Management of Mangroves and Coral Reefs is being implemented. Regulatory measures are implemented through Coastal Regulation Zone CRZ Notification 2019 under the Environment Protection Act 1986, the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, the Indian Forest Act 1927, the Biological Diversity Act 2002, and rules under these acts as amended from time to time. As per the ISFR 2021, the mangrove cover in the country has increased by 364 square kilometers in 2021 as compared to 2013. Increasing mangrove cover in India: 2009 4639 square kilometers, 2021 4992 square kilometers. Carbon stock in India's forest and tree cover. A robust forest ecosystem is a vital sink of carbon. Forest Survey of India FSI assessed the carbon stock, which is the amount of carbon sequestrated from the atmosphere and stored in biomass, deadwood, soil, and litter in the forest. In India's forests, for the first time in 2004 and then biennially since 2011, The Indian State of Forest Report ISFR estimates the carbon stock of forest to be about 7,204 million tons in 2019, which is an increase of 79.4 million tons of carbon stock as compared to the estimates of the previous assessment for 2017. This translates into carbon emissions sequestrated through forest and tree cover to be 30.1 billion tons of CO2 equivalent. Among the Indian states, Arunachal Pradesh has the maximum carbon stock in forests 1023.84 million tons, followed by Madhya Pradesh 609.25 million tons. The per hectare forest carbon stock among different states or union territories indicates that Jammu and Kashmir is contributing the maximum per hectare carbon stock of 173.41 tons, followed by Himachal Pradesh 167.167 tons, Sikkim 166.2 tons, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands 162.9 tons. Status of forest and tree cover. One of the three quantifiable targets of India NDC is to achieve an additional carbon sink of 2.5 billion to 3 billion tons through additional forest and tree cover by 2030. The forest and tree cover in India has shown a gradual and steady trend of increase in the last 1.5 decades. The country ranks third globally with respect to the net gain in average annual forest area. The national annual forest area between 2010 and 2020. This gain is mainly attributed to the robust framework and policies of the national and state governments that have promoted and safeguarded forests. Schemes like the Green India Mission, Compensatory Afforestation Fund Management and Planning Authority CAMPA, National Afforestation Program NAP, Green Highway Policy 2015, Policy for Enhancement of Urban Greens, National Agroforestry Policy, and Submission on Agroforestry SMAF, etc., are among the most important ones. India's updated Nationally Determined Contribution NDC. India submitted its first NDC to UNFCCC in October 2015. This was updated in August 2022. The 2015 NDC comprised 8 goals, 3 of which were quantitative targets to be achieved up to 2030. The 3 targets included cumulative electric power installed capacity from non-fossil sources to reach 40%, reduction in the emissions intensity of GDP by 33 to 35% compared to 2005 levels, and creation of addition carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons of CO2 equivalent through additional forest and tree cover. Article 4 of the Paris Agreement provides that each party shall communicate or update its NDC every 5 years. Therefore, in accordance with the aforesaid provision of the Paris Agreement, India submitted the following updates to its first NDC of 2015. To put forward and further propagate a healthy and sustainable way of living based on traditions and values of conservation and moderation, including through a mass movement for lifestyle for environment as a key to combating climate change. To adapt a climate-friendly and cleaner path than the one followed hitherto by others at the corresponding level of economic development. To reduce the emission intensity of its GDP by 45% by 2030 from the 2005 level. To achieve above 50% cumulative electric power installed capacity from non-fossil fuel based energy resources by 2030 with the help of the transfer of technology and low cost international finance, including from the Green Climate Fund GCF, to create an additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons of CO2 equivalent through additional forest and tree cover by 2030, to better adapt to climate change